Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
We wrap up this week with crime. We start off at the movies with The Maltese Falcon, starring Humphrey Bogart. Arch Obolers Plays from 79 years ago in The Rocket from Manhattan. An episode of Counterspy, the first part of the Case of the Postal Pirates. An episode of Gunsmoke starring William Conrad. Drop Dead, and an episode of Claudia. That's all coming up on this Friday, 20th day of the month of September. This is the 264th day of the year, 102 days remaining. Marty Lundy born on this date in history, and twins Matthew and Gunnar. Now, Matthew and Gunnar have a famous father who himself was a child star. Do you know who they are? And do you know who Marty Lundy is? We'll tell you in a bit. In 1519, Ferdinand Magellan set sail with about 270 men on his expedition to circumnavigate the globe in 1519. 1881, Chester A. Arthur inaugurated as the 21st President of the United States. 1891, the first gasoline-powered car debuted in Springfield, Massachusetts. In 1962, James Meredith, an African-American, barred from entering the University of Mississippi. That was in 62. How far have we come? A long way. In 1973, Billie Jean King beat Bobby Riggs in a $100,000 winner-take-all Battle of the Sexes match.
And so this is what it's come down to here in the Houston Astrodome. The long-awaited match, hustled and promoted ceaselessly and shrewdly by Bobby Riggs. Excitement engendered all over the country as Billie Jean hugged her husband, Larry King. It began to become a cause célèbre. Equality for women. Equal rights. It was Billie Jean who fought for equal pay for women in the U.S. Open Tennis Tournament and got it. All of the women of America, or at least most of them, seem to be caught up with the anticipation of this match.
Now, earlier in the year, back in May, Bobby Riggs, who was 55 at the time, beat Margaret Court. Straight set, 6-2, 6-1. And then Billie Jean King came along, and straight sets, in four straight sets, or three straight sets, 6-4, 6-3, 6-3 on that day. And by the way, 5 days later, Jimmy Connors would beat Martina Navratilova 7-5, 6-2. So, you know, Riggs claimed he'd thrown the match. He hadn't. He was 55, and Billie Jean King was still in the prime of her tennis career. But, big television event on this date back in 1973. On that same date, September 20th, 1973, Say Hey, Willie Mays said goodbye to baseball.
I'm getting out of baseball because I don't feel that when I go on the field, I want to give 100%. And when I seen the way that I was playing the last couple of years, I didn't feel that the people of America should look at a guy like myself that loved the game of baseball and been on the field and not been able to produce.
Now, Willie Mays spent almost all of his 22-season career playing for the New York and San Francisco Giants before finishing with the Mets. He was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1979, his first year of eligibility. He ended his career with 660 home runs, third at the time of his retirement, and he won a record-tying 12 Golden Glove awards beginning in 1957 when the award was introduced. 1979, Lee Iacocca elected president of Chrysler. In 1984, a suicide bomber in a car attacked the U.S. Embassy in Beirut, Lebanon. 12 people, including the bomber, were killed. Well, 1988, a day after hitting his head on the diving board, American Greg Louganis won the gold medal for springboard diving at the Summer Olympics in Seoul. Afterwards, he told reporters what he was feeling.
Relief. I was so relieved. I'm like,
Now, Louganis revealed several years later what else was on his mind at the time, that he was HIV positive. He had worried about infecting other divers and having his HIV status revealed. In 2000, the last performance of the musical Cats on Broadway. In 2007, between 15 and 20,000 protesters marched on Jena, Louisiana, in support of 6 black youths who had been convicted of assaulting a white classmate. In 2011, the U.S. military ended its Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy, allowing gay men and women to serve openly for the first time.
For the first time in my career, I won't have to come up with white lies when I'm asked, what did you do this weekend? Who's Dan?
Navy Lieutenant Gary Ross, who married his longtime partner right after the new policy took effect at midnight on this date in 2011. Passing away on this date in history in a plane crash, Jim Croce.
1972. I'd save every day like a treasure, and then again I would spend them with you. But there never seems to be enough time to do the things you want to do once you find them.
His biggest hit, and one that hit right after became his biggest hit after he died, and really spoke a lot about his life. Time in a Bottle. Jim Croce, passing away on this date in a plane crash in 1973. Paul Weston also passing away on this date. A delightful actress, singer, Polly Bergen, not related to Edgar. I had a chance to interview her, and she was a delightful lady. Also, Jimmy Olsen in TV's first Superman television series, Jack Larson, passing away on this date in history. Birthdays on this date include Gogi Grant.
1956.
The wayward wind is a restless wind, a restless wind that yearns to wander, and he was born the next of kin to the wayward wind.
Wonderful song, The Wayward Wind. Gogi Grant, born on this date. Also Upton Sinclair, basketball coach, executive Brett Auerbach, psychologist and advice columnist, and game show contestant, and Dr. Joyce Brothers. Won a bunch of money on the $64,000 question. They didn't like the fact that she won. No, they didn't. In the days of rigged shows, and yet she went around them. She learned everything she could about boxing, and she won. Also, comic actress Ann Mira, also born on this date in history.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
If you have a matching set of salad bowls and they all say Cool Whip on them, you might be Jeff Foxworthy. Born on this date, 90 years old today, Sophia Loren.
You wanna be Americano, Americano, Americano. You were born in Italy. You'd try living a la moda, but if you drink whiskey and soda, all you do is sing off key. You dance the rock and roll. You play it baseball.
From the movie It Started in Naples, Sophia Loren, 90 years old today. Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin is 73. A fellow that wrestling fans don't know by this name, but he did wrestle by the name Marty Lundy. In fact, he wrestled under that name in Bill Watts's wrestling organization, Mid-South Wrestling, until he went to the South. Went to Atlanta, went to Florida, and became an Anderson brother. Double A, Arn Anderson, 66 years old today, and accompanying his son, teaching another generation. Also from Third Rock, from the Sun, and E.R. Kristen Johnson is 57. Gunnar and Matthew, They are listed in the Guinness Book of World Records because their last name happens to be Nelson. Gunnar and Matthew, the sons of Ricky Nelson, the only family to reach number one record status in 3 successive generations, beginning with grandparents Ozzie and Harriet, and then Ricky, and then Gunnar and Matthew. They're still doing their show, Ricky Nelson Remembered. Gunnar and Matthew Nelson, 57 years old today. From The Walking Dead, Joe Bernthal is 48. Singer Philip Phillips is 34 today.
Trouble in my drag you down. You get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone. 'Cause I'm gonna make this place your home.
His hit record Home, Philip Phillips is 34 today. And from the television show Pushing Daisies, Sammy Hanratty is 29. Those are just a few of the people who celebrate the 20th day of September as their birthday. If this happens to be your birthday,
Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
and we'll start off in the movies on this Friday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox by going back 81 years to September 20th, 1943, the Lady Astor Screen Guild Theater, and the Maltese Falcon, starring Humphrey Bogart, Mary Astor, Sidney Greenstreet, and Peter Lorre. That's next.
There's an issue cutting through the partisanship in Congress. It's AM radio. The overwhelming majority of legislators, Democrats and Republicans, support a bill to keep AM radio in cars. But time is running out. Text AM to 52886 and ask Congress to bring this bill to the floor for a vote now. AM radio is too important to let this moment pass us by.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Your senators and congresswomen are out now asking for your vote. Ask them to support the AM Radio in Every Vehicle Act, would you please? All right, 81 years ago, September 20th, 1943, the Screen Guild Theater production of the Maltese Falcon.
Lady Astor presents the Screen Guild Players. The Screen Guild play tonight, The Maltese Falcon. The starring players, this is Humphrey Bogart.
This is Mary Astor.
This is Sidney Greenstreet. And this is Peter Lorre. Tonight, Lady Astor presents the Screen Guild Players in Warner Brothers' sensational mystery story, The Maltese Falcon. It stars Humphrey Bogart as Private Detective Sam Spade, Mary Astor as Miss Wonderly, Sidney Greenstreet as Casper Gutman, and Peter Lorre as Joel Cairo. This is the story of the Maltese Falcon and of the people whose lives it touched and seared. It began in San Francisco when a beautiful young woman who identified herself as Miss Wonderly walked into the offices of Spade and Archer, private detectives. Miss Wonderly had just told Sam Spade why she wished to engage detectives when Spade's partner, Miles Archer, entered the office.
Oh, excuse me, Sam. No, it's all right, Miles. Come in. Miss Wonderly, this is Miles Archer, my partner.
How do you do?
Well, I'm pleased to meet you. Miss Wonderly's sister ran away from New York with a fellow named Floyd Thursby. They're here in San Francisco. Miss Wonderly has seen Thursby and has a date with him tonight. Maybe he'll bring the sister with him. The chances are he won't. Miss Wonderly wants us to find the sister, get her away from Thursby, and back home.
But I want you to know that he's a dangerous man. I don't think he'd stop at anything. I don't believe he'd hesitate to kill Corinne, my sister, if he thought it would save him.
Uh-huh. What time is he coming to see you, Miss Wonderly?
After 8 o'clock.
All right, Miss Wonderly, we'll have a man there.
Oh, I'll look after it myself.
Thank you, Mr. Archer. Will $200 be enough for a retainer?
Oh, plenty. Oh, it'll help if you meet Thursby in your hotel lobby, Miss Wonderly.
I will. Thank you again.
Goodbye. Well, Archer, what do you think of her?
Sweet. I'm going to enjoy shadowing her.
Okay, sucker. You call me if you run into any trouble. Hello? Yes, it's Spade.
This is Lieutenant Dundee, Spade.
What's on your mind, Copper?
I thought you might be interested in knowing that your partner, Archer, was found in an alley near the St. Mark, shot through the heart from close range. Blast burnt his coat. Coming down for a look at him before he's moved?
No. You've seen everything I could.
His gun was tucked away on his hip. It hadn't been fired. His overcoat was buttoned. Was he working, Sam? Well?
He was supposed to be tailing a fellow named Floyd Thursby.
What for?
But now don't crowd me. I'll see you after I break the news to Archer's wife.
I'll be there in a couple of hours.
Oh, hello, Copper. Come on in.
Break the news to Archer's wife, Sam?
Uh-huh.
What kind of a gun do you carry?
None. I don't like 'em much.
You don't just happen to have one on you.
Search me. Turn the dump upside down if you want to. I won't squawk if you got a search warrant.
Why were you tailing Floyd Thursby, Sam?
I wasn't. Archer was, for the swell reason that we had a client who was paying good money to have him tailed.
Who's the client?
Sorry, I can't tell you that.
You didn't go to Archer's house to tell his wife. I called up and the girl from your office was there, and she said you told her to go.
What are you leading up to?
Just this, Spade. Floyd Thursby was shot down in front of his hotel about a half an hour after I talked to you.
Oh. I came into my apartment just a few minutes ahead of you. I was walking around thinking things over.
I knew you weren't here. I tried to get you on the phone. Where'd you walk to?
Just around. Thursby die?
Yeah.
How'd I kill him? I forget.
He was shot 4 times in the back.
Hotel people know anything about him?
Nothing. Except he'd been there a week.
Alone?
Alone.
You find out who he was? What his game was?
No, I thought you could tell me that.
I've never seen Thursby dead or alive.
Now, look, Spade. You know me. If you did get Thursby, you'll get a square deal from me. And most of the breaks. I don't know that I'd blame you a lot. Man that killed your partner. But that wouldn't keep me from nailing you.
That's fair enough. Now, would you mind scramming? I got some thinking to do, and I'd like to get a little sleep before daylight. Hello? Yeah, this is Sam Spade. Oh, I was just going to call you. Where are you? Well, the Coronet on California Street, apartment 101. What's that? The name's Miss LeBlanc. Okay, I'll be right out. Oh, good morning.
Come in, Mr. Spade. Mr. Spade, I've a terrible, terrible confession to make. That story I told you yesterday was all just a story.
Oh, that. Well, we didn't exactly believe your story, Miss, is your name Wonderly or LeBlanc?
It's really O'Shaughnessy, Bridget O'Shaughnessy.
Oh. Well, Miss O'Shaughnessy, as I said, we didn't exactly believe your story. We believed your $200.
Oh?
Yes, you see, you paid us too much to be telling the truth.
You knew that when you accepted the money?
Oh, I suspected it. I was positive when Joel Cairo called on me.
Joel Cairo?
Yeah. Yeah, he seems interested in Floyd Thursby, too.
What did he say?
About what?
About me?
Nothing.
Well, what did he talk about?
Well, he offered me $5,000 for a black statuette of a bird. He was pretty sure I had it or knew where it was.
Do you?
Oh, I think I know someone who does, and $5,000 is a lot of money. But right now, the police are trying to find out who hired us to tail Floyd Thursby.
Mr. Spade, do they know about me?
No, I don't think they do. I've been able to stall them so far.
Must they know about me at all, Mr. Spade? Couldn't you manage somehow to shield me from them?
Maybe. But I'll have to know what it's all about.
I can't tell you now. Later I will, when I can. You must trust me, Mr. Spade. Oh, I'm so alone and afraid. I've got nobody to help me if you won't help me. Be generous, Mr. Spade. You're strong. You're brave. You can spare me some of that strength and courage, surely.
Sister, you don't need much of anybody's help. You're good. Chiefly your eyes, I think, and that throb you get in your voice when you say things like, be generous, Mr. Spade.
All right. I deserve that. But the lie was in the way I said it, and not at all in what I said.
Ah, now you are dangerous. Still, Cairo offered me $5,000.
It's far more than I could ever offer you if I must bid for your loyalty.
Yeah, that's good coming from you. Have you given me any of your confidence, any of the truth? I can't go ahead without more confidence in you than I have now.
Can't you trust me just a little while?
Well, how much is a little? And what are you waiting for?
I must talk to Joel Cairo.
Oh. Well, you can see him tonight. I know where to reach him.
Oh, he can't come here. I can't let him know where I am. I'm afraid.
We'll all meet at my place, then.
All right.
I'm delighted to see you again, Miss O'Shaughnessy.
I was sure you would be, Joe. Mr. Spade told me about your offer for the Maltese Falcon. How soon can you have the money ready?
Oh, it is ready.
You are ready to give us $5,000 if we turn the Falcon over to you?
I shall be able to give you the money as soon as the bank opens in the morning.
But I haven't got the Falcon.
Then why did you send for me?
Because I'll have it in another week.
Yes? Where is it?
Where Floyd hid it.
Thursby?
Of course.
If you know where he hid it, why must we wait a week? And why are you willing to sell it to me?
I'm afraid. After what happened to Floyd, I'm afraid to touch it except to turn it over to somebody else right away.
Exactly what did happen to Floyd?
The fat man.
Gutman? Is he here?
I don't know. I suppose so.
If you two let me interrupt for a second, I can answer that. Gutman is here.
How do you know?
Because he called me and asked me to see him.
Have you?
Not yet. I thought that after our friend Cairo here left, I'd find out just how you and I stand before I took on any more clients.
Now, do you know how you and I stand, Sam?
Yeah. If I can believe anything about you. But you're such a liar.
I am a liar. I've always been a liar.
Well, I wouldn't brag about it. Was there any truth at all in that yarn you were telling me about Thursby and the Falcon?
Some. Not very much.
Well, we've got all night before us.
I'm so tired. So tired of lying and thinking up lies and not knowing what is a lie and what is the truth. I wish...
Hey, look, honey. I think I'd better have a talk with Gutman in the morning. Now, Mr. Gutman, shall we talk about the Falcon?
No. By all means, Mr. Spade. But first, answer me a question. Are you here as Miss O'Shaughnessy's representative?
Well, there's nothing certain about it either way yet. It depends.
Maybe it depends on Joel Cairo?
Maybe.
The question then, Mr. Spade, is which you'll represent. It'll be Miss O'Shaughnessy or Mr. Cairo.
I didn't say so.
Who else is there?
There's me.
Oh, well, that's wonderful, sir, wonderful. I do like a man who tells you right out he's looking out for himself. Don't we all?
Uh-huh. Now let's talk about the Blackbird.
Let's, Mr. Spade. Have you any conception of how much money can be got out of that Blackbird?
No, but you just tell me what it is, and I'll figure out the profits.
You mean you don't know what that bird is?
Well, I know it's black enamel and about a foot high, and I know the value in human life you people put on it.
Miss O'Shaughnessy didn't tell you what it is?
He offered me
Cairo didn't either?
He offered me $10,000 for it.
Do either of them know what that bird is, sir? What is your impression?
Well, there's not much to go by, but, I don't think so.
If they don't know, I'm the only one in the whole wide, sweet world who does.
Good. And when you tell me, there'll be two of us.
Mathematically correct, sir. But I don't know for certain that I'm going to tell you.
Well, you think again and think fast. You'll do your talking today or you're through. What are you wasting my time for? I can get along without you.
That remains to be seen, Mr. Spade. There are ways...
And there's another thing. Keep that gunman of yours away from me while you're making up your mind, or I'll kill him.
Well, sir, I must say you have a very violent temper.
Think it over. You got till 5:30, then you're either in or out for keeps.
Wilma.
I'm going to kill that guy. I could have done it easy when he was standing there with his back to me.
Of course you could, my boy. But business before pleasure. And we'll be seeing Mr. Spade again before 5:30.
Act One of The Maltese Falcon, starring Peter Lorre, Sidney Greenstreet, Mary Astor, and Humphrey Bogart. Act Two in just a moment. But first, here's a word from our hostess, Lady Astor.
Some weeks ago, I was being shown through a shipyard, one of the largest in the country, and stopped to chat with a young woman wearing a safety mask. It gave her a stern, rather severe look, but when she removed the mask to chat with me, she was young and blonde and very lovely. Her skin looked so dainty and fresh that I just couldn't resist saying, "My, you look as though you just stepped out of a bandbox." She laughed and said, "Oh, I've been on the job since early this morning, and I haven't even had time to repowder my face. But after all, I do use your powder, you know." Of course, she's only one of millions of busy, important women who use Lady Astor face powder, partly because of its remarkable clinging quality. They explain that when they use Lady Astor face powder, they have the comfortable feeling that their skin always looks smooth and fresh, never streaked, caked, or shiny. But that's only one of the reasons why more lovely women now use Lady Astor face powder than any other kind. There are two other important reasons. First, the texture of my powder is so flattering that it hides little lines and blemishes, makes your skin look younger. And second, the shades of Lady Astor face powder are so rich, vivid, and alive, they give new interest, a look of new beauty to your skin. And both the unusual texture and the flattering shades are the result of my patented twin hurricane method of making face powder. So if you'd like to have your skin look softer, smoother, younger, and look that way for hours at a time, just try Lady Astor face powder.
On the second act of The Maltese Falcon, starring Humphrey Bogart as Sam Spade, Mary Astor as Bridget O'Shaughnessy, Sidney Greenstreet as Casper Gutman, the Fat Man, and Peter Lorre as Joel Cairo. Late in the afternoon, following Sam Spade's visit to Gutman's apartment, a dying man staggered into Spade's office and collapsed on the floor. He died before he could speak to Spade, but his papers identified him as Captain Jacoby of the steamship La Paloma, and clutched to his bullet-torn chest was the Maltese Falcon. After depositing the Falcon in a railroad station check room and mailing the identification check to his private post office box, Sam met Bridget O'Shaughnessy and took her to his apartment.
You know, Sam, I never would have placed myself in this position if I hadn't trusted you completely.
Oh, that again?
But you know that's so.
You don't have to trust me as long as you can persuade me to trust you.
But Sam, darling.
Well, I think we better let it go at that until we see what happens after Gutman gets here.
The fat man? Here?
Certainly, why not? Anyway, that should be him. So it's too late to change our plans. I'll be right back. Oh, hello, Gutman.
Good evening, sir.
I see you brought company. I can understand the gunman, but I didn't know Cairo was a friend of yours.
No, we're old acquaintances. Now that we're all here, let's go in and sit down and be comfortable and talk.
Oh, sure. Come on in. Now, look, Angel. Gutman brought a couple of friends along.
Good evening, Mr. Shaughnessy.
Hello, Joe.
You look unusually charming this evening, my dear.
Thanks.
The gunsel doesn't talk, Angel. Get away from me, punk.
Stand still and shut up.
Listen, you're not going to frisk me, touch me, and I'm going to make you use that gun. Ask your boss if he wants me shut up before we talk.
Never mind, Wilma. Oh, you're certainly a most headstrong and unpredictable individual, Mr. Spade. Now, why did you send for me?
You ready to make the first payment and take the Falcon off my hands?
The Falcon?
That's right, Angel. I've got it.
Well, sir, I have in this envelope $10,000.
$10,000? Oh, we were talking about more money than that.
Yes, sir, we were, but there are more of us to be taken care of now.
Well, that may be, but I've got the Falcon.
I shouldn't think it would be necessary to remind you, Mr. Spade, that though you may have the Falcon, yet we certainly have you.
Yes, I'm trying not to let that worry me, but let the money wait. There's another thing to be taken care of first. We've got to have a fall guy.
I beg your pardon?
Police have got to have a victim, somebody they can stick for those 3 murders.
Two. Only 2 murderers, Mr. Spade. Thursby undoubtedly killed your partner.
All right, 2 then. Now, the point I've got to give the police, a victim when the time comes. If I don't, I'll be it. Let's give him Wilmer here.
Why, you dirty rat.
He actually did shoot Thursby and Jacoby, didn't he? Anyway, he's made to order for the part. Let's turn him over to them.
By God, so you are a character, that you are. There's never any telling what you'll say or do next, except that it's bound to be something astonishing.
Well, it's our best bet. With him in their hands, the police will forget the rest of us.
Your plan is not at all practical, sir. Let's not say anything more about it.
All right. I have another suggestion. Let's give him Cairo.
Well, by God, sir.
Suppose we give him you, Mr. Spade, or Mr. Shaughnessy. How about that, huh?
Sam, you wouldn't.
You people want the Falcon, I've got it. A fall guy is part of the price I'm insisting on.
You seem to forget you're not in a position to insist on anything.
No? If you kill me, how are you going to get the Falcon?
By God, sir, you are a character.
Well?
Well, what else can I do? I'm sorry, Wilma. Terribly sorry. I want you to know that I couldn't be any fonder of you if you were my own son. But, well, if you lose a son, it's possible to get another. And there's only one Maltese Falcon.
You rat, I'll kill you for this.
Thank you, Mr. Spade. When you're as young as Wilma, one simply doesn't understand these things.
Well, how about some coffee, Bridget? Put the pot on, will you? I don't like to leave my guests.
Surely. Anything to get out of here.
Now, sir, let's get down to business.
I ought to have more than 10,000.
Of course, sir, you understand this is the first payment. You still don't understand the Falcon's worth.
Well, a black enamel bird can't be worth millions.
But it is. Otherwise, I should not have spent 17 years of my life trying to acquire it. The black enamel you refer to, sir, is merely camouflage, covering a solid gold bird encrusted from head to foot with the finest jewel.
Okay. So I get millions later. How's about 15,000 now?
Frankly and candidly, and on my word of honor as a gentleman, the 10,000 I gave you is all the money I can raise right now.
Yeah, but you didn't say positively.
Positively.
Well, if that's the best you can do, it's the best you can do. But it's understood the punk has to stand as the fall guy.
That is part of our agreement, sir?
Okay, I'll make a phone call. The Falcon will be here in an hour.
This is not the Maltese Falcon.
Why?
This is a lead imitation covered with the same enamel. See where I've shaved it off with a knife lead? Pure lead.
You bungled it. You, Gutman. You and your stupid attempt to buy it from the Russian who owned it. He caught on to how valuable it was. No wonder we had so little trouble stealing it. You imbecile. You bloated idiot.
Well, sir, what do you suggest? Shall we stand here and shed tears and call each other names? Or shall we pay the Russian another call in Istanbul?
Are you going?
17 years I've wanted that little item, and I intend to get it. Another year, well, sir, that'll be an additional expenditure of time on only 5 15/17%.
I go with you.
Good. And Wilma?
Wilma,
Where is the boy?
He must have made his getaway while we were unwrapping the Falcon.
A swell lot of thieves.
Well, sir, I left to ask you to return my $10,000.
I held up my end. It's your hard luck, not mine, if you didn't get what you wanted.
I'm sorry, but I must insist.
Oh, a hideout gun, huh? Okay.
Thank you, sir. The shortest farewells are the best. Adieu. And to you, Miss O'Shaughnessy, I leave the fake Falcon as a little memento. Come, Carl.
Hello, police department. Lieutenant Dundee there. Put him on. Tell him Sam Spade's calling. Now, look, Angel. Gutman and Cairo will talk when the cops nail them about us. We've only got minutes to get set for the police. Now, give me your whole story fast.
Well, where shall I begin?
The day you first came to my office. Why did you want Thursby shadowed?
I suspected him of betraying me to Gutman, and I wanted to find out.
That's a lie. Gutman tried to make a deal with him. You had Thursby hooked, and you knew it. You wanted to get him out of the way before Captain Jacoby arrived with the Falcon. Isn't that so? What was your scheme?
I thought if he saw someone following him, he might be frightened into going away.
Now, look, Archer hadn't many brains, but he wasn't clumsy enough to be spotted the first night. You must have told Thursby he was being followed.
I told him, yes. But please believe me, Sam, I wouldn't have told him if I'd thought Floyd would kill him.
If you thought he wouldn't kill Archie, you were right, Angel.
Didn't he?
Arch had been a detective too long to be caught shadowing a man up a blind alley with his gun tucked away in his hip and his overcoat buttoned. But he'd have gone up there with you, Angel. He was just dumb enough for that.
Sam.
And then you could have stood as close to him as you liked, there in the dark. Put a hole through him with a gun you'd gotten from Thursby that evening.
Don't talk to me like that, Sam. You know I didn't.
Now, the police will be blowing in any minute now, Angel. Talk.
Oh, why do you accuse me of such a terrible...
Why did you shoot Archer? You thought Thursby would tackle him and one or the other would go down. If Thursby was killed, then you were rid of him. If it was Archer, then you could see that Thursby was caught. Was that it?
Something.
And when you find out that Thursby didn't mean to tackle Archer, you borrowed the gun and did it yourself, right?
I guess so.
I know so. You didn't know Gutman was here looking for you until you learned Thursby was shot. Then you needed another protector. So you came back to me.
Yes, but... No, sweetheart, it wasn't only that. I would have come back to you sooner or later. From the very first instant I saw you, I knew that...
Ah, you angel. Well, if you get a good break, you'll be out of San Quentin in 20 years.
Sam, you're not...
Yes, Angel. I'm going to send you over. But if they hang you, I'll always remember you.
Don't, Sam. Don't say that. Even in fun.
It's not fun. I happen to be in the detective business, and you killed my partner. It's bad business to let the killer get away with it. Bad for every detective in this country. You're taking the fall.
You've been playing with me. Only pretending you cared. To trap me like this. You didn't care at all. You don't love me.
I think I do. But what of it? I won't play the sap for you.
You know it's not like that. You can't say that.
I am saying it.
You know down deep in your heart, you know that in spite of everything I've done, I love you.
I don't care who loves who. You killed Archer, and you're going over for it. Come in. Oh, hello, Copper.
Hello, Sam.
You get Gutman and Cairo?
We got Cairo. Gutman's dead. The kid Wilmer had just finished shooting him when we got there.
So I ought to have expected that. You better put the cuffs on Angel, Copper. We're taking her down to the station.
What charge?
Sam.
Murder. She shot Miles Archer. Oh, and you better bring that Blackbird along, too, Copper. It's part of the evidence against Cairo.
Hey, this is heavy. What's it made of?
The stuff that dreams are made of.
So ends the story of the Maltese Falcon. Thank you, Mary Astor, Humphrey Bogart, Sidney Greenstreet, and Peter Lorre for appearing with the Lady Astor Screen Guild players tonight, and also for telling us a most exciting story.
It was our pleasure, Mr. Bradley. We all had a wonderful time making the picture, and the radio version tonight brought back some wonderful memories. Then, too, knowing that the benefits from these programs that support the Motion Picture Country House and Clinic give us an added incentive. And now, before we tell you about next week's program, here's a word from one of America's best-known beauty authorities, Lady Esther.
Thank you, Miss Astor. Ladies, You know, it's surprising the number of letters new users of Lady Esther face powder have sent me in the last few months. So many of them say the same thing, that Lady Esther face powder is an entirely different kind of powder, that it does wonderful things for the appearance of the skin, makes it look softer, smoother, and often years younger. Well, Lady Esther face powder is more flattering, more becoming, because my powder isn't just mixed, just blended like ordinary face powder. It's made by a method new, unique, exclusively mine. You see, Lady Esther face powder is blown at whirling speed by my famous twin hurricanes. Yes, my patented twin hurricane process blows and whips color and powder particles together until they're evenly married, blended into a fine, smooth, sheer mist of beauty, finer in texture and truer in shade than powder ever made by ordinary methods. That's why Lady Esther face powder smooths on so much more evenly, and why the shades of my powder are so clear and alive. They make your skin younger looking, more vivid, far lovelier. Why don't you try Lady Esther face powder and see how much happier you'll be with the appearance of your skin?
Before we tell you about next week's program, Humphrey Bogart has a word to say from our government.
As you all know, the third war loan drive is on full steam, the drive to back the attack our fighting forces are making against our enemies. As our share toward victory, we at home must buy $15 billion worth of war bonds, which means each one of us must dig down deeper into our own pockets. Each of us must buy at least one extra bond this month. We have to win this war, and we will win, all right. But how soon we win is up to every one of us. So buy an extra war bond this week, sure, to help speed our day to victory.
Next week, the Lady Esther Screen Guild players will present highlights from Warner Brothers' great new musical picture, Thank Your Lucky Stars. It will star Joan Leslie, Dennis Morgan, Dinah Shore, and Eddie Cantor. Be sure to listen. Humphrey Bogart can soon be seen in the Warner Brothers production, Thank Your Lucky Stars. Mary Astor is currently playing in the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Technicolor production, Thousands Cheer. Sidney Greenstreet and Peter Lorre appeared through the courtesy of Warner Brothers. Music on tonight's program was arranged and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. To help your government save tin, buy the larger size of Lady Esther face cream, and at the same time you will save yourself money to invest in war bonds and stamps. Truman Bradley speaking for Lady Esther. Thank you. Good night.
This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
81 years ago, September 20th, 1943, the Screen Guild Theater, sponsored by Lady Esther. The lady introduced as Lady Esther is Bess Johnson, who was an actress lived from 1901 to 1975. She impersonated Lady Esther not just on the Screen Guild Players, but also on the Wayne King programs as well. It was tied to the brand's advertising efforts, and because of that, Lady Esther cosmetics were highly popular at the time. I'm Wyatt Cox. This is Classic Radio Theater. Thank you for making us a part of your day. I ask you this a lot, and there's a reason. Please share if you like what we do here, and if you enjoy our conversation, and you enjoy the programs, and you enjoy what I do, share our show out there with your friends. You can get our Facebook links, and those are through our webpage at classicradio.stream. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, or X as it's called. You can also, if you go to our links, you can find the direct links to share for each show at our Facebook pages or our Twitter pages. That's at classicradio.stream. Sharing them is one of the best things you can do. Rate or review the show on however you listen to us, and visit our page, classicradio.stream. If you like what we do, buy me a coffee. That's always great. But the best thing you can do is tell folks we're here. We don't have that 100 radio stations anymore promoting our podcast, and so we depend on you. We do a little promotion, but really, it's up to you to tell folks you like us. Up next, an episode of Arch Obolers Plays, The Rocket from Manhattan.
Are you saving old newspapers, magazines, paper bags, and boxes? Paper is a vital war material, and there's a serious shortage. Sell your waste paper or give it to a local charity. And now we move out of the theater and into the street.
Recycling popular as far back as World War II. How about that? We're going to go to another wartime program, this one from 1945, September 20th. Actually, it's post-World War II because it's 79 years ago. An episode of Arch Obolers Plays, and it's a show that, in story, took place 24 years ago. September 20th, 1945, Arch Obolers Plays and the Rocket from Manhattan.
Arch Obolers Plays. The Mutual Broadcasting System has the pleasure of presenting the 23rd broadcast of the special series of plays by radio playwright Arch Obler. Tonight's play, Rocket from Manhattan, will be introduced by Mr. Obler.
Prophecy is an easy thing, for rarely is the prophet brought to judgment. Tonight I bring you a false prophecy. The place of our story is a great rocket speeding away from the moon. Yes, away. For the first trip to the moon has finally taken place, and a triumphant airship is now rapidly returning to the Mother Earth. Here, then, is a story about a tomorrow 55 years hence, September 20th in the year of our Lord 2000.
The sky is sure the limit, our new century's begun. We're floating on our plastic boats, we're flying through the air. The world is all our playground, we haven't got a care. Oh, I'm glad to be alive, boys, I'm glad to be alive. I'm riding on a rocket train, and soon I will arrive. Oh, I'm glad to be alive, boys, I'm glad to be alive. I'm riding on a rocket train, and soon I will arrive. Hi, Doc, how about joining us?
Yes, Doctor. Don't you think it's about time we had a little celebration?
There's a great deal of work to be done. Work's over, Doctor. 24 hours more and we're back.
Yes, Doctor, we'll be back. We've done it. Complete.
In 24 hours. If you're worried about our landing, I'm not. You worried, Reynolds?
No, sir. Everything's in perfect order.
Sure, Doc. There's going to be a round trip. Anyway, there's 24 hours before we have to worry about that.
Yes, Doctor, it's a time for celebration. Oh, I'm glad to be alive, boys. I'm glad to be alive.
I'm riding on a rocket train, and soon I will arrive.
Reynolds.
Oh,
Major Reynolds. Are you men out of your minds? You, Major Russell. Reynolds is still a boy, but you're a mature man. Please act mature.
Oh, but Doctor...
I'll grant you that our adventure has gone well. Well is right. We've been to the moon.
My congratulations, Reynolds.
Thank you, Major, thank you. I'll put the medal on my other chest.
Will you men listen to me?
We're 48,000 miles from the Earth.
And headed right for it.
We're not there yet.
Doc, pardon the expression, but you're a gloomy Joe.
I am a realist. But, Doctor, the possibilities of anything going wrong are remote. Surely we're entitled to relax a little and relish the fact of what we've done.
Yeah, we've done it, Doc. Even if we never get back, we've done it. We've been to the moon, and it'll always be there on the books.
I'm not interested in becoming an historical fact, Major Russell. The data we've collected, that's my only interest. May I ask you and Reynolds to get back to your post?
Oh, but everything's going like clockwork. Look at the gauges.
But we are out of radio contact with the Earth. Yes, sir. But we are on course. Doc, what is wrong? Wrong? What should be wrong?
Well, the kid's right, Doc. Ever since we made the circle and started back, all these days you've been acting as if we didn't make it. We've gone 243,000 miles, and we're three-quarters of the way back, and we're in, Doc. We're in. So what's the matter with you?
How old were you, Major, when the Second World War ended?
Oh, about 5. What's that got to do?
And you, Reynolds, you weren't even born. No, sir. I was 21 on that day in New Mexico when they set off the first chain reaction. 21.
Doc, you mean to say you were in at the beginning of it?
Of course he was. Dr. Chamberlain was one of the original research men in the atomic bomb project back in 45. The only one of them alive today.
Well, what do you know? So that's why you wanted to make this trip, Doc.
I mean, you...
Yes, Major. You wanted it as a substitution for what you missed as a boy. The excitement and glory of war.
Oh, now, Doc.
It's true, and Reynolds here is young and idealistic. And the scientific wonder of it was what he wanted. And I was there at the birth of an era. Now atomic power is driving me into space, back to the Earth where it all began. And I'm thinking...
Yeah, Doc?
It's not pertinent to any of this. We've no time to discuss our emotions. There's work to be done.
Airspeed, 23,486.
Airspeed, 23,486.
Interior temperature, 68.2.
Interior temperature, 68.2.
Well, that's it.
Yes?
Any radio contact, Rose?
No, sir.
How about that, Doc?
Unfortunate, but not very vital. We're definitely on course.
How much longer will it be, Doc?
10 hours. At the most, 10 hours.
In the middle of LaGuardia Field. That's where I'd like to land.
I hope not.
Texas. Isn't that it?
Sure. We'll hit the flats right on the nose.
If the auxiliary jets work.
They worked on the moon. They'll work on landing. We're the good luck boys, Doc. We can't miss.
You have the optimism of a 16-year-old. Reynolds, you'd better get back to your radio. Try phone contact.
Yes, sir.
Major, check the jet temperatures.
Right jet, 1580.
Right jet, 1580.
Left jet, 1583.
Left jet, 1583.
Speed, 24,832.
Speed, 24,832.
XR1 calling CQ. XR1 calling CQ. Hello? XR1 calling CQ. XR1 calling CQ. Hello?
Any luck?
No, sir.
Put your transmitter back on automatic.
Yes, sir.
Why do you laugh, Major?
I was just thinking about how many millions of telescopes are turned in our direction.
Yes?
What you said a few hours ago. I mean, about my wanting the excitement and adventure. That's true, you know. I'm 60 years old, and I guess I just lived for this chance. The Army hadn't okayed my going. Well, here I am. Once we land, I'll admit, frankly, I'm going to cash in on every bit of it and have myself a time. You know something? I get the feeling kind of depressed when I think it'll soon be over. Well, there's no reason for depression, is there?
I couldn't answer that.
Why not?
You've been wondering, undoubtedly, why, ever since we left the moon, I've been acting strangely.
That's right.
I've never believed in predestination, and yet there's been sort of a motivation of fate in my life. At 21, I was part of that research team trying to adapt atomic power to military purposes. When that first bomb went off over the New Mexico desert, a newspaper man repeated the words, "What hath God wrought?" And no one quite knew. I've been waiting 55 years for the answer. I think I found it a few hours ago on the moon. And it's an answer full of horror.
Sure sleeping.
Yes.
It's only a few more hours, isn't it?
Yes.
Will we have to put on our compression suits the way we did on the takeoff?
Yes, of course.
Doctor, may I ask you something?
Yes?
Before, you spoke of finding an answer on the moon. And then you didn't say any more. Well, I've been thinking about it. I was wondering if it was something that the Major couldn't understand, and that's why you didn't speak of it further.
And now you want to know?
Yes, sir. I haven't lived anywhere as long as you two have, but my life has been built around atomic power. My dad, he was one of your men. Why, ever since I was a child, becoming a physicist like Dad was and you are, and Dr. Oppenheimer and all the rest, why, that was it. Now, all of a sudden, the way you spoke before,
As if all our research has been criminal. Do you mean that? Collision radar. Get at it.
What's the matter?
Object approaching.
Where?
15 degrees west. There it is. Meteorite. It's a meteorite.
That was the closest.
It was indeed.
It'd be sardonic indeed to collide with a meteorite at this point in our journey.
I'd use a stronger word than sardonic, Doctor.
Yeah, like fatal.
It's all clear.
Well, I'd better get back to
Reynolds, you asked me a question before, and I want to answer it. You too, Major Russell. I want you to hear this.
Sure.
Reynolds overheard what I said to you, that I'd found the answer to a very old question on the moon. He said that he felt that somehow I thought all of the research on atomic power had been criminal. No, young man, I don't believe that. Not at all. Criminal to know more about a way of nature? No. The answer I found was something else. I hadn't even an answer, perhaps only a theory. When we came within 100 miles of the moon and then began to de-accelerate, to turn back, what did we see through the observation ports?
Well, Doctor...
No, please, let me tell you what I saw. The craters of the moon. Great, gigantic craters, and as we came closer and closer, the look of them was so familiar. Not because I'd seen them through telescopes and in photographs, but for some reason that I couldn't quite understand. Craters of the moon, and suddenly, at the very moment when we'd come as close as we dared and our ship swung in an orbit to return, suddenly I knew. It was a memory of another crater I had seen 55 years before in New Mexico from an observation plane high over the ground a few hours after the first atomic bomb had lit the sky with a new sun. Yes. The crater in the crust of the Earth that bomb had left was the same as the craters of the moon. Do you understand? The crater our bomb had left on the Earth was the same as the craters on the moon.
So what? I don't get it.
Yes, Doctor. What are you getting at? Well, the crater in that desert was 1,000th of the size of the ones you're talking about.
I suddenly began to think. Was it not possible that the moon had gone through the same evolutionary processes as our Earth before our Earth? Yes. Wasn't it possible that man had come into being on the moon, developed their own civilization, had known scientific progress, even as we have, but long before we Earthmen had known it?
Say, Doc.
You do understand. These men of the moon had discovered the secret of atomic power long before we did, and then had used it to blast and to tear each other. Yes. And the craters on the moon, that terrible devastation, was the record of the destruction of their civilization. A final war which had burned up the very atmosphere and left the moon a dead planet circling endlessly through an airless sky.
All right, Doctor. Presuming your theory is correct, that the moon men had started through a war, a chain atomic reaction that they couldn't stop, well, what of it? It indicates that they were fools.
Yeah, that's it. Fools.
Are we any wiser?
Airspeed 2482.
You'd better cut it down.
Right, how much?
About 15%.
Right.
You get anything, Reynolds?
No, sir.
Would you come here a moment?
Yes, sir.
Will you help me with this port covering?
Yes, sir.
Here, there.
Right.
Trying to take a look, huh?
Yes, that's it. There she is.
Mama Earth.
Reynolds, the cameras?
Yes, sir. How much should I run, Doctor?
Put it on automatic exposure.
Yes, sir.
6 more hours, eh, Doctor?
Or less.
You sure we haven't made a mistake and headed for Venus?
What have you...
That was just a bad joke, Doc. Oh, there's no two ways about it. The outline of the continents, we can't make any mistake about that being our home address. I wonder how much they can see of us. What are we, 6,000, 7,000 miles out? You know, this reminds me of the time about 25 years ago. The Army sent me up to 1,000 miles to take observation photographs. We remember how the atomic reaction motors were then. We got up about 500 feet. And
Major.
What?
Look down. Look.
What? Well, I don't see anything.
Look, I tell you. Reynolds, come here.
What's the matter? Something wrong?
Well, the doctor says...
Reynolds, look. You see?
Yes. What is it?
I see it, too. Bright lights going on and off. What's going on down there?
Doctor, are they signaling us? Are they signaling?
It's 6,000 miles. Why? Why should they?
That's right. There's no such plan.
Look at it. It is lights going on and off.
But they're all from one area.
Can you make out where?
North America.
Then they are signals. The candle in the window.
Your own question. At 6,000 miles?
Wait a minute.
Are they explosions?
Explosions? Major Doctor, is that it? Are they explosions?
I don't know.
CQ, hello? Oh, I'm sorry, Doctor, I can't raise any...
Doc, come here.
Yes, what?
Look, the closer we get, they are explosions.
3 more hours, we'll know.
I want to know now. Reynolds, what's the matter with you? Why can't you make radio contact?
I'm doing everything I can.
Major.
Doc, what are
Craters. Look. Craters.
Craters? At this altitude, you couldn't possibly...
Each flash. I do see them.
Okay. What does it mean? Well, what are you looking at me like that for? What does it mean?
Dr. Major, something's coming through.
Oh, what about time?
I can only hear it faintly.
What?
Please, let me listen. United States. What?
Reynolds, what is it?
Tell us. What? Boy, I couldn't quite make out.
He said what?
Tell us. War. He said war. Blasting the United States off the face of the earth. Blasting. It's a joke, isn't it? Isn't it?
What are they sending now? What now?
It began an hour ago. No warning. Projectiles, radio controlled. Point of origin unknown. Oh, it stopped again, the transmission.
That's enough. Where's the International Police Force? What's being done about it? Doctor, did you hear it was an attack without warning? Who could it be? What's the idea?
The explosions are increasing in frequency.
Reynolds, anything more coming through?
No, nothing. Yes, they started transmission again.
All right, let's have it quick.
Some station in Midwest. I can't get the call letters.
Who cares?
He says it's hell. Ground shaking. No bombs landed near, but air reconnaissance. It's so garbled I can hardly make out.
Well?
It started an hour ago. Everything burning. Now it's stopped again. There's nothing.
Doctor, in heaven's name, what do you think it's all about? Stop staring out of the window and talk to me.
What are they doing?
What do you mean, what are they doing? They're bombing us, blasting us. It's war, but who? I've got to find out. Reynolds, find out who.
What? It's no use. There's no transmission.
Doctor, those bombs, where are they coming from? Can't you tell by the trajectory?
At this distance? And what difference does the face of the enemy make? It's happening, that's all.
Smashed them. I always said we should have smashed them. Exterminated them 50 years ago.
Oh, they were so peaceful for so many years, and...
The flashes are increasing in frequency.
Reynolds, get on that radio.
I'll try again.
I've got to know who. The devils. We had agreements with everyone. The international... devils, all of them. Call them devils. I don't even know who they are. Reynolds! You got anything?
No, I don't.
Doctor, faster. Let's get down there faster. Let's open it up.
You know better than that. We're entering atmosphere. Increase speed and we'd burn up like a meteorite.
But I'm an army man. All my life I've been
coming
trained.
through.
What?
The bombs. Nothing can... I can hardly make it out.
Keep at it.
Panic. Paratroopers.
Who?
Last message from United States of... It's ended. There is no more.
We'd only get down there faster.
Only 500 more miles.
Look at it down there. Our Air Force, protective measures. What happened to them?
What happened?
Doctor, why don't you say something? We're going to sit there for hours watching. This isn't a scientific experiment going on down there. They're blasting us to pieces. Us. Your atomic bomb, a great secret. Hold it over the world and have peace forever. You said that. Yes, you. I was a kid then. I heard you say it over the radio when they gave you a medal. Hold it over the world and have peace forever. Well, what do you got to say now?
We had a wonderful 55 years.
What?
Everybody had a wonderful time.
Reynolds, what's the matter with him? He's gone.
No. Let him finish.
First, we hung the criminals 55 years ago. And as soon as their bodies stopped swinging, we left the crowd and each went back to his own house and shut the door.
You said the peace would hold forever.
I said it because I thought that when the secret was put away, the people of the world would remember the terror. I said to myself, now, surely now that they've seen the possibility of the disintegration of their Earth, they'll be drawn together once again into the family of men as it must have been in the beginning. I forgot what years could do. I forgot how quickly forgetfulness comes. I forgot that in only a few years, Hiroshima and Nagasaki would be only yesterday's sensations for a nation eager for sensations for today. You keep asking me who's sending those bombs against us. Who? I tell you we're sending them against ourselves. Because had we made our way of life something more than a confused dream of shiny machines and happy endings, those bombs would not be flying at us. I said the peace would hold forever because I thought out of that war at last man had learned that there was no defense against hatred and revenge, but the defense of education for the unity of people. It was a race, gentlemen, against time. And we wasted our last 55 years running backwards on a track of chromium and plastics. And so we've lost. Forever.
We've never lost.
Look, the blasts are increasing.
Doctor, look. The color of the blast.
Oh, dear God.
What?
Doctor, it's nitrogen, isn't it?
Nitrogen? What?
The fools, the everlasting fools, I've won.
The blast. More and more.
They started something they couldn't end. The color of the blast, they've set off hydrogen atoms.
I don't know what you...
We used uranium, plutonium, and when the initial blast was over, that was all. But hydrogen, that's part of life. One reaction sets off the other like setting off an endless chain until... Look down there.
Blast. Faster and faster.
They're spreading.
The fools. God help the fools.
The sheet of flame. Around the earth. Doctor, tell me, what is it?
It burned up all the atmosphere.
Burned up? Reynolds, what does he mean?
The chain reaction burned up all the air.
Oh, my...
Major, the left jet.
It's all right. All right. Where are we going?
There's no air, no life. The moon, the earth, the same.
How much fuel?
There's the gauge.
2, 3 hours?
Yes. Yes, I think that's right. Isn't it, Major?
Yeah.
What do we do?
You ask that question now? The Major no longer asks it. Do you know the answer, Major?
Sure. We'll circle around. Then we'll crash.
No. No, it'll be all right, my boy. My words again. Have peace
forever.
Truly frightening, and even worse now, with weaponry developed since 1945, or what could be imagined in 2000. September 20th, 1945, 79 years ago, Arch Obolers Plays here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thank you so much for making our podcast a part of your day. Tomorrow, Edward Polly in Big Town in the final payment. An obituary sales racket. Jack Webb starring in Dragnet in The Big Shot. The manager of the Pink Rat Cafe, Mr. Kelby, shot and killed by the Evans brothers during a robbery. Orson Welles in The Lives of Harry Lime and The Rogue's Holiday. And the FBI in Peace and War, The Scandal Sheet, and an episode of Claudia with Bad News. That'll all be coming up on tomorrow's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Up next, the first part of a two-part Counterspy from 75 years ago.
Mrs. American Housewife, are you saving all your used kitchen fats and turning them into your butcher regularly? Because the Army and the Navy need them, and need them now. Every drop yields material essential to the manufacture of ammunition and medicine. Help win the war. Help shorten the war. Save kitchen fats.
Do you know that there are idiots out there who claim that we never did this? That we never saved fat and grease? That we never saved tinfoil? That we never did any of this? These people are idiots. All right, let's go to Don McLaughlin, Mandel, Kramer in an episode on the Blue Network of Counterspy from 75 years ago, September 20th, 1949, in the case of the Postal Pirates.
Pepsi-Cola, P-E-P-S-I, that's your smartest cola buy. Pepsi-Cola presents Counterspy.
Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy. Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy.
Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington.
United States Counterspies, especially appointed to investigate and combat the enemies of our country, both at home and abroad. Tonight, the case of the Postal Pirates. Another Counterspy report to the American people. Brought to you each Tuesday and Thursday by Pepsi-Cola.
Pepsi-Cola hits a spot. 2 full glasses, that's a lot.
That's right, you heard what they said. 2 full glasses of sparkling Pepsi from one big 12-ounce bottle. You're getting an extra glassful. And what a delicious glassful. The most refreshing, delightful cola that ever tickled your taste. You can't top Pepsi's tangy flavor. And that big, big bottle saves you money, goes twice as far. Pepsi is America's big, big favorite. And America's biggest cola value. So why take less when Pepsi's best? Whenever you reach for refreshment, remember.
Why take less when Pepsi's best?
And now, to Counterspy. In one of New York City's larger post office branches, it is mid-afternoon and fairly quiet. Then, through the street door, comes a remarkably pretty girl of perhaps 27. Her eyes are surprisingly cold and searching, until they reach window number 5.
What'll it be, miss? Oh, hello.
Hello, handsome. 100 threes.
5 days in a row, 103-cent stamp. So you do a lot of mailing.
I've got a lot of friends.
I'll bet.
Mm-hmm.
And, I can see the reason why.
Oh, I didn't know postal clerks could make such pretty speeches.
Oh, there are a lot of other things we can do, too.
That why they keep you locked up in a cage?
If you'd like to find out, they let us out at 5.
Feeding time for the animals?
You might say.
Well, I always did like animals, especially big, burly ones.
Well, this one feeds at the Shamrock across the street from here.
Oh, there?
Mm-hmm.
That looks like a place where they feed the animals. Okay, I'll pick you up here at 5.
Here's the last of the dishes, baby.
Put them in the sink. We'll let them soak.
All right.
Now, isn't my apartment, even with the dishes, better than a public restaurant?
Baby, I even love the dishes. And now that we've wined and dined, how about a name? Not that I'd object to calling you baby permanently.
I was wondering when you'd ask. It's Kathy.
It's nice. Goes good with mine. Jimmy.
Is that all? No more questions?
Well, my mother taught me never to look a gift horse in the mouth.
Horse? Well, I'm not sure I like that. Jimmy.
Yeah.
Come here.
Well?
You know, post office isn't only work. It's a game, too.
Yeah, I've played it. Goes something like this, doesn't it?
Oh, don't crush. I'm fragile.
Oh, who reads labels? It's a waste of time.
You know, I might have a husband.
Well, if you do, he's a chump to let you out of his sight.
He's a chump.
Oh, you have one?
Only on paper. We're separated. He pays the bills and prays for an excuse to divorce me.
You trying to give him one?
Don't be silly. I said he pays the bills. You, bothered?
Yeah, a little. It marks you handled with care.
I thought you said you didn't read labels. Try closing your eyes.
That's an idea. Come here.
Oh, remember, fragile. Oh, Jimmy. Oh.
My. What a pretty picture.
Oh, Nick. What's the idea of busting in here?
Well, me and Frank just got a lovely snapshot for my album. You got it all right, didn't you, Frank?
Right here from the doorway with my trusty camera.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what is this?
Evidence, big boy. That's why I brought my boy Frank and his camera along. Been waiting a long time for my darling wife, Kathy, to step out of line.
Nick, you got this all wrong. I just met him today.
Fast working. And if I got it wrong, the camera hasn't. Right, Frank?
A perfect shot.
You're Kathy's husband?
Sure. I'm not sore. You done me a favor.
Well, you're not going to pull a stunt like this on her.
Take your hands off me. Let go.
Take it easy, mister. I make 2 of you.
Yeah? Then this'll cut you down to size, big boy.
Jimmy, look out! A gun! Get it away from him!
Okay, Nick. Now I got the gun. Now get out of here.
You kidding? What you took, I can take back. No!
What?
Nick's dead, Jimmy.
Holy mackerel.
Dead?
You're a little late dropping the gun, big boy.
But how could... I didn't mean...
It's done. He's dead.
Oh. Well, we'll have to call the police.
Jimmy, don't be a fool. If Nick's body is found here, what do you think this mess will look like to the cops?
It was an accident.
The cops will love that one.
Listen, Jimmy. Nick taught me a lot of things besides what a heel he was. Nick was in the rackets.
In the rackets?
Yeah, kid. He had a lot of enemies. He's found beside a road. Nobody'll ask twice who did it.
What are you figuring, Frank? That this sets you up to take over Nick's racket?
Yeah. I can get hold of a couple of boys to help me get rid of Nick, and then we'll all keep quiet. I slip into Nick's spot, you two are in the clear. How do you like it, Kathy?
Okay, Frank.
But, Kathy, it's an awful chance.
Look, Jimmy, look, I like your style, and I don't want you wasting it in some jail cell while I'm around. You beat it now and let Frank take care of things. You stay away from me until I call you at home. And that won't be long, honey. That won't be long.
Hello?
Jimmy?
Kathy. I've been staying home every night. I thought you'd never call. What happened? Did Frank?
He said it's all right, but he wants to see you. Half an hour in front of the Shamrock.
This is David Harding. To Counterspy agents in Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, and Boston. Continue investigation parcel post theft ring. Take no action, make no arrests, but lay plans to close in on known members of ring at a moment's notice. Special attention, Boston field office. Have Harry Peters telephone me as soon as possible.
Okay, Frank, what did you want to see me for? Where are we driving? Everything's all right, isn't it?
For me, Jimmy, yeah. For you, only maybe.
Maybe?
Depends on how you play ball.
What are you driving at?
Photograph I took. Not of you and Kathy, but of you and Nick.
Nick? Well, what does it show?
Take a look.
It looks like I killed him deliberately.
I cut it perfect. With Nick on the floor and you over him holding a gun. If that picture should show up when Nick is found, boy, oh brother.
What do you want? Money?
I'm a postal clerk.
Then what do you want?
I took over Nick's racket. A racket that's worked in the post office.
The post office?
Yeah. Nick had guys in post offices, stealing valuable packages.
What, just walking out with them?
No. After people insure their packages, our guys relabel them. Send them to a special address.
That's what you want me to do?
Let's say this photo wants you to do it. And, of course, Kathy. You don't want to get mixed up in no murder rap.
Kathy?
Welkin?
All right, Frank. I guess there's nothing else I can do.
United States Counterspies, Washington headquarters. Oh, yes, Mr. Peters. Will you hold on just a moment? Attention, Statistical Department. If Mr. David Harding is there, will he please take a rush phone call on extension 61 from Mr. Harry Peters, extension 61.
Hello, Peters. I've been waiting to hear from you. How's it going in Boston?
Pretty well, Dave. We've got a line on all the small fry here. We're ready to pick them up on a moment's notice.
That's good. I've got the same reports from Chicago, Detroit, and Philadelphia. But what's bad is the racket started in New York, too.
Oh, great.
As nearly as I can make out, this parcel post theft ring has been in operation about 3 months. They've stolen over $1 million in merchandise already. We pick up the small fry, and the big shots just start over again.
I agree, Dave.
I'm going up to New York. I want you to meet me there. We'll take up the investigation together.
Fine. When?
Tomorrow. And you can spend the time in between reading postal regulations.
I know them backwards already, Dave.
Good. I'll have something else for you. Your credentials as Harry Gordon, postal clerk.
Jimmy.
Yeah, what now, Harry?
My daily stamp reports and registration book. Will you check them to see if they're right?
Well, after 3 weeks, you ought to know yourself.
I'd just like to make
That's
sure.
my luck, always getting stuck with substitutes.
Guy's got to make a living.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Harry. Let's see.
This post office work isn't so good for a guy's disposition.
Forget it. I got trouble. Yeah, your books are okay.
Thanks.
Customer at your window.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, mister?
I'd like to have this package insured, please.
For how much?
Well, they're nylon stockings. You better make it $150.
Okay.
How are you doing, Peter?
Okay so far, Dave. Penny Arcade, 42nd Street and 8th Avenue at 6 o'clock tomorrow.
Here you are, mister. Your receipt.
Will it get there all right?
Sure. Be right on time. Don't worry about it. Nice shooting, mister.
Like to try a load yourself?
Pinball's my speed. The other side of the arcade. Come on and watch.
Okay.
Any news on Jimmy Morrison, Dave?
We traced the package I mailed that Jimmy Morrison relabeled. It went to 428 Front Street, a warehouse.
A warehouse?
Maybe the central warehouse for the whole racket. Well, here's your pinball machine.
Watch me, boy.
One thing more. We picked up another outside contact. Your man, Jimmy Morrison, frequently meets a blonde bombshell.
46,000.
Yeah.
Blonde bombshell. Want me to follow that?
She may be the big shot we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Not so good that time.
Just watch this one.
Morrison has lunch with the blonde in the main dining room of the Shamrock every day.
Okay, I'll catch him tomorrow. At the Shamrock.
Kathy, I tell you, we can't keep it up.
Look, Jimmy, we have to. Besides, don't you like spending the extra dough on me?
Oh, honey, if it wasn't for you. Why did Nick have to...
Forget that name,
He
Jimmy.
could have gotten that divorce, then we could have...
What's the matter?
A guy coming toward us.
Well?
Harry Gordon. He works with me at the post office.
Oh.
Hello, Jimmy. I almost missed you way over here in the corner.
Hi, Harry.
Well?
Well, what?
No knockdown?
This is Kathy Thomas.
Hi.
Hello.
Mind if I join you? Thanks.
What's on your mind, Harry? You want me to check your books again?
No. In fact, this is kind of private.
Jimmy's got no secrets from me.
Oh, like that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This might be embarrassing.
I'm blushing. Speak your piece.
What is it, Harry?
Okay. Here it is in 3 little words. I want in.
Is that a riddle?
Let's cut the sparring, Jimmy. I got eyes and you got careless sometimes.
Look, I don't...
Wait a minute, Jimmy. Go on, Harry. Let's hear your spiel.
Okay, sister. Your boyfriend here's been making funny with the post office. Packages come in from dress goods houses, jewelers, appliance dealers, and what have you. Junior here gets them, relabels them, and 5 will get you 10. They wind up where they shouldn't.
You've got an awful big nose. Things could happen to it.
Easy, Jimmy, easy. He's a bright boy. Harry, I suppose you could do what Jimmy's doing.
I take it I'm in.
Yes, if you have to be told.
Kathy.
It's all right, Jimmy. Harry, we'll get in touch with you.
Don't keep me waiting. I'm impatient.
In a day or two. No, we'd like to have our dinner.
Sure thing. Goodbye, Miss Thomas. Jimmy, my apologies. I had you figured about 5 sizes too big. So long.
Kathy, I don't like it. You declared him in.
Yeah, I did, but Frank has the final word.
You think Frank will turn him down?
He might. And in that case, I wouldn't want to be in Harry Gordon's shoes.
In just a moment, we'll return to Counterspy, brought to you by Pepsi-Cola.
Pepsi-Cola hits the spot. 2 full glasses, that's a lot. Lots more value, lots more zest. Why take less when Pepsi's best?
More and more, among fellows and girls, among mothers and dads, you hear that sane and sensible question, why take less when Pepsi is best? No budget, no allowance ever had a better friend than tangy, sparkling Pepsi-Cola. Because one big 12-ounce Pepsi bottle gives you 2 delicious drinks. That's twice as much tangy taste, twice as much delicious Pepsi to go just twice as far. That's why more and more families say, why take less when Pepsi is best? Yes, families like yours and mine, families all over America, they're all saying, why take less when Pepsi is best?
Pepsi-Cola hits a spot, tastes terrific when you're hot, more and better than the rest. Why take less when Pepsi's best?
Today, tomorrow, always. Get America's biggest cola value. Take home a carton of 6 big Pepsi bottles. Insist on Pepsi at the store. And say Pepsi at the fountain. Say Pepsi at the stand. Say Pepsi. Whenever you reach for refreshment, remember,
why take less when Pepsi's best?
And now, back to Counterspy. It's just after 5 p.m. in Midtown, New York. From a tall marble building, Peters, alias Harry Gordon, postal clerk, emerges to join the homeward-bound throng. A man sidles up to him.
Hello, Harry.
What? Who are you?
Guy you wanted to see. Kathy told me.
Oh. Fast work.
I've got my car. We'll go for a drive. That way, conversation's private. Come on. Okay, Harry, stay on the West Side Highway now.
Swell car. Handles nice.
Yeah, I know. I like to drive. Except in city traffic.
That why you wanted me to take the wheel?
One reason.
And the other?
You're a bright boy, Harry.
Thanks.
Yeah, the kind of a guy we'd like to have if we were taking on new guys.
You're not?
We don't like volunteers. We like to pick out our own boys and hold them to us good and tight.
I stick like glue where there's dough.
Glue melts. We prefer something more solid. Now, you might be a right guy.
Thanks.
Or a stoolie.
I can't sing a note.
Maybe even a cop.
I haven't got flat feet.
Maybe, but we never take chances. Hey, slow down, will you? You're going too fast.
I like speed.
Now, don't get cute and try to get a cop on our tail.
A lot of power in this motor.
Slow down, I'll blast your head off.
I thought you'd show a rod sooner or later.
Okay, I showed it. Now slow down.
What for? Right now, this is the safest way I can drive.
You crazy fool, look out!
Close, huh?
You don't slow down, I'll...
Shoot? Then what happens to us both? The needle's pushing 70. 75. 80.
You'll kill us both.
That's better than you killing me. Look at the needle. 85.
It's a car! Okay, you win. You win. Only slow down.
Toss the gun on the floorboard.
Okay. Now slow it.
Turn out all your pockets and open the jacket wide. I don't want you to cross me.
Yeah, sure. I ain't got another gap. Hey, a police siren a block behind. Cops, now we are in the stew.
Maybe. That's a good boy. No more guns.
Okay, bright boy, we stop, but what are you going to do about those cops coming?
You'll see, tough guy. Get out.
What is this? Only one plainclothes guy in that patrol car.
Peters, I've been tailing you since you got into this car.
What a race you staged. He pulled a gun on me, Chief. The only way I could make him drop it was to speed up.
Chief? Who are you guys?
Counterspy.
Sorry it turned out this way, Dave. It practically tips our hand.
I'd rather have our hand tipped than you dead. We'll move in right away. We'll hand this fellow over to the police and then go right down to pick up Jimmy and the girl.
Jimmy's not here.
Yeah. Looks as if he left in a hurry.
He can't possibly know about the chase and... Hey, Peters.
Come on.
This magazine opened to page 7.
One of those true crime story magazines.
Open to an article about the capture of Professor Horn.
The case we handled, Dave. Jimmy Morrison evidently been reading up on criminals.
More than that, Peters. Here's a photograph taken at police headquarters that time. And there you are in the background.
What? Hey, lucky my name isn't given in the caption.
Still, this picture's enough to tell Jimmy Morrison you're not the postal clerk you pretended to be. It's a cinch he saw this and lit out.
He'll head for the girl first. He's soft on her.
We'll go to her place then. If she's not there, then we go to the warehouse on Front Street, where the gang's been forwarding its loot. This is David Harding. Attention Counterspy agents, Boston, Chicago, Detroit, and Philadelphia. Circumstances force us to move now in postal theft investigation. Carry out all raids according to plan. Pick up all members of the ring you can lay your hands on. We will conduct raid on main warehouse here in New York. Act on this order immediately.
Kathy.
Jimmy, I thought Frank told you never come near this warehouse.
Forget Frank. We got to get out of here.
What are you talking about?
That guy, Harry Gordon, he's really a counterspy.
Counterspy?
I saw his picture in a magazine.
Oh.
Come on, Kathy. We haven't got any time to lose. Then maybe...
Kathy, that left.
Oh. Nick.
What goes, Kathy?
Counterspies. Jimmy says they're onto us.
What?
Nick, I thought I'd killed you.
Forget it, Jimmy. We're all in a jam now together.
A frame-up.
Look, Jimmy.
You jockeyed me into this.
Yeah, kid. And you're staying in.
Nick, forget the gun. We've got to stick together.
That one loaded with blanks, too, Nick?
Try it and see, kid.
Stop it. The counterspies could be right outside this minute.
Wait, I'm putting it together, Kathy. At that time you telephoned me, I never gave you my number.
So you didn't.
You didn't even know my last name, then.
That's right. It was a frame. Nick played dead, so you'd be forced into this setup.
Your post office is in a nice district. Good merchandise.
There, you got it all.
But the funny thing is, Kathy, you didn't have to frame me. I'd have done anything you wanted me to. But I'm not doing anything more.
Jimmy, we've got to get away from here. The three of us are in this now.
Wrong edition, baby.
Huh?
Just two. You two.
What?
Get over there. Both of you.
He's crossing us, Jimmy, you and me.
How does it feel, Kathy?
Don't be a sap. Do something.
All Jimmy's going to do is die. Now stand there. I got a letter to type, and I'm strictly a one-finger guy. And I don't want to use it on the trigger. Yet.
All of our agents stake out around the warehouse, Peter?
Yes, Dave, and we're in luck.
Oh, how?
Conway tells me Jimmy Morrison went into the warehouse just a little while ago.
Good. Maybe a meeting of the brains of the mob.
What's that?
Shots from inside the warehouse. Let's go. Right, you men cover the main floor of the warehouse. Peters and I'll take the office upstairs. Peters.
Holy. Jimmy Morrison and that girl.
Maybe they're still alive. No, she's not.
Jimmy Morrison's gone, too. Here's a note, Dave.
Note.
Typed and signed by Jimmy Morrison. Listen. Kathy was no good. She was poison and poisoned me. She really ran this whole package-stealing racket and tricked me into it. There's no chance of getting away. I don't want to, and I won't let her, so I'm going to help her escape the only way she can, by taking her with me. Jimmy Morrison.
Oh.
Well, it looks as if the girl was the big shot, Dave. Murder and suicide. This winds up the case nice and neat.
Looks like it, Peters, and Wait a minute. The boy's holding the gun.
Well, he was the suicide, according to the note.
Well, the note may say so, but the evidence does not. This was no suicide, Peters. It was murder. Double murder.
Back to David Harding in a moment. But first, when your friends drop in, be generous, but be thrifty, too. Serve plenty of delicious Pepsi-Cola. Pepsi's big 12-ounce bottle gives you not just one sparkling glassful, but two. Get a carton of 6 and serve 12 delicious drinks. Yes, Pepsi is America's biggest cola value. You get twice the tangy taste, twice the refreshment, twice the Pepsi. So why take less when Pepsi is best? Whenever you reach for refreshment, remember,
Pepsi-Cola hits the spot. 2 full glasses, that's a lot. Lot more value, lots more zest. Why take less when Pepsi's best?
This is David Harding. The deaths of Jimmy Morrison and Kathy Thomas, plus the simultaneous raids we made in Boston, Chicago, Detroit, and Philadelphia, would have ended our investigation of the parcel post theft ring, except for one small mistake. A mistake that turned an apparent suicide into murder. A mistake that led us straight to the criminal boss who tried to buy life insurance with death. For the exciting conclusion of this case, I invite you to listen Thursday night.
Case of the Postal Pirates, File 2 on Counterspy. Tonight's Counterspy program originated in New York, was directed by Leonard L. Bass, dramatized by Palmer Thompson, and featured Don McLaughlin and Mandel Kramer with music by Jesse Crawford. Counterspy is a Phillips H. Lord production for Pepsi-Cola. Enjoy some Pepsi, ice cold tonight.
Counterspy from 75 years ago, September 20th, 1949. I think I misspoke. I said it was the Blue Network. At that point in time, I think they had become ABC. So please, forgive me for that. On Sunday, we will have the second part of Postal Pirates here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Up next, William Conrad in a 1952 episode of Gunsmoke.
Do you know how old the school building in your community is? If it's over 25 years old, the chances are that it's woefully inadequate. Join with the groups in your community working for better school conditions. Remember, better schools build a stronger America.
I told you about tomorrow's shows, which will be Big Town, Dragnet, The Lives of Harry Lime, The FBI in Peace and War, and Claudia. Coming up on Sunday, Gangbusters, Mr. Keen, Tracer of Lost Persons, the second half of that Counterspy adventure you just heard, Dimension X, and Superman. And then on Monday, comedy with Fibber McGee and Molly, Milton Berle, Groucho Marx and You Bet Your Life, and Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. Tuesday, the Chase and Sanborn Hour, Father Knows Best, and People Are Funny. And then on Wednesday, Mystery in the Air, Crime and Punishment. Also Night Watch, Inner Sanctum Mysteries, and Casey Crime Photographer. And let's see, that gets us to, then we'll have Jack Benny, Amos and Andy, Fibber McGee and Molly, and Lum and Abner in a special half-hour show. That's all coming up here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. But up next, as we said right now, Gunsmoke, an episode from 1952, 72 years ago today, Drop Dead.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with the U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
Mr. Jackson. Dry as a bone. Our last hope of water for the herd.
Not quite, Pecos. Cottonwood Pond is just over the rise ahead of us.
Well, it may be dry, too. Bet they haven't had a rain on the prairie for 6 months.
It won't be dry. I've been bringing cattle up here to Dodge City for 12 years. Drought or no drought, the pond's always had water.
It better have. We're losing 15 head an hour now. We can't push them much further.
There'll be water. With luck, if the railroad's got the cars for us, we can start loading this afternoon. By this time...
Hey, sounds like the boys up ahead run into something.
Yeah, come on. There's a pond, Pecos. Plenty of water.
Yeah, I guess you were right.
Wonder why the herd's piling up. They ought to be stampeding for that pond. You'd think you have to... Hold up, Pecos.
A barbed wire fence. Somebody's fenced off the pond. Mr. Jackson, it looks like we've got a fight on our hands.
I don't like it, Doc. It's too quiet. When things get too quiet in Dodge, it always means a blow-up's coming.
Just sit down, Matt. You're just getting yourself a case of nerves. You've been a law officer too long. Shot at too many times. You're getting so you just act like a spooky old horse. You're jumpy and you're gun-shy. Hand me those forceps.
Oh, yeah. You mean this?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, you take me, Matt. I don't rant and rail against fate. I just sit back and take what comes.
Yeah, sure, Doc.
Mm-hmm. If I get a patient, fine. I steal him blind. And if I don't, well, I keep my hand in setting a broken leg on a dog. There. That splint ought to hold him. Matter of fact, I could use a fee or two. Not planning to shoot anybody, are you, Matt?
Yeah, if this drought doesn't break, I'm in the mood to shoot myself.
That's a bad one, all right. I don't think I've ever seen the prairie as dry as it is this year.
Oh, there you are, Mr. Dillon.
Well, come on in, Chester.
I've been looking all over for you. We've got trouble, Mr. Dillon.
Huh? Trouble?
Old man Howard just sent a rider in. A trail drive's pulled in from the Big Bend. They're threatening to cut his fences so they can water the cattle at Cottonwood Pond.
Well, there's your blow-up, Matt. A real head-on smash. A thirsty herd against that skinflint Howard. Bet I could get myself a few fees out of this before it's over.
Good old Doc, always hoping for the best, huh? Come on, Chester, let's ride out to Cottonwood.
Howard had no call to fence that pond, Mr. Dillon. There's enough water there for all the trail herds in the next 10 years.
It's on his ranch, Chester. He's got a right to fence his own range.
Got a right, maybe, but no decent rancher would take advantage of it. Howard's mean. Just downright mean.
I think it's more than that, Chester. It's the old business of making $2 grow where $1 grew before. I think Howard figured on something like this when he strung that fence last month, but the trouble is that we...
Look yonder, Mr. Dillon.
Huh?
Must be 50 or 60 riders facing each other across that fence.
Yeah.
Looks like a couple of armies.
Well, that wouldn't be the first range war that started over water rights. Come on. All right, boys. All right, hold it. Hold it, I said. Now put away the guns. The party's over.
Who says so, mister?
I do.
Who are you?
Dillon, U.S. Marshal out of Dodge.
Marshal, that man and his gang have threatened to break through my fences and trespass on my property. I demand the protection of the law.
You'll get it, Howard. You the owner of this herd?
That's right, Marshal. Jack Jackson from the Circle Z spread down in the Big Bend. Maybe you can make this fella see reason. I got a herd of cattle here that's dying like flies for lack of water. Over there, 100 yards, is plenty of water. Only a sneaking crook has fenced it in. How about it, Marshal?
Well, it's his land, Jackson. The law gives him the right to fence it.
Law? Right. Everything I got in the world's tied up in that herd. There's 25 trail riders there in the saddle I can't even pay wages to if I lose these cattle. Does the law uphold pushing a man against the wall and wiping him out?
It wasn't intended to. Howard, why don't you ride up here to the fence and talk, huh?
Sure, Marshal. No objections at all. My fence, ain't it?
Well, nobody's doubting it. Now, look, is there any reason why you can't get together with this man and let him take that herd in and water it?
I made him an offer. He turned it
An
down.
offer, $1 a head a day for water, or buy the herd himself for $3 a head.
Those are pretty stiff terms, Howard.
Better than losing everything like he's gonna do.
Why, you dirty
All right,
loser.
hold it, both of you. Now, look, if there's any gunslinging starts, I'm going to be in on it, too, you understand? Howard, I just don't understand you. Most people out here on the frontier stick together when trouble starts. They don't kick a man when he's down. And they don't look on a drought or a blizzard as a chance to make a personal cleaning.
Just a minute, Dillon. You call yourself the law dodge. All right. Does the law say I can fence in my own land?
It does.
And never mind your opinions, Marshal. All I want out of you is enforcement of the law.
All right, Howard, you'll get it. And that's all you'll get. Jackson, you better have your boys start the herd circling.
This mean you're backing him up, Marshal?
I'm backing up the law, that's all, Jackson.
And I don't think much of your laws up here.
I only enforce them, I don't make them. Now, you better circle that herd.
I say you better. I'm ordering my boys to shoot the first man or steer that comes through that fence.
Chester, you cover Howard.
Yes, sir, Mr. Dillon.
And if he orders any of his men to fire a shot, kill him.
Be a pleasure, Mr. Dillon.
What's the idea, Marshal?
You wanted the law enforced. All right, you're getting it. But I'm going to do the enforcing, Howard, not you. So if you're smart, you won't give any orders about shooting.
All right, Mr. Dillon, you got a tough job. I guess you're trying to do it fair and square.
Man does what he has to do, Jackson.
I know. It's like with me. That herd of mine beds down without water. Most of them won't get off the ground in the morning. So law or no law, we're going through that fence tonight.
Matt.
Huh? Oh, hello,
What's the
Kitty.
matter? Bad liquor or a busted straight?
Neither. How are you?
Eager, but you've probably noticed that before. Seriously, though, what's wrong?
Plenty. One of the bloodiest little range wars you ever saw is just about to break.
Out of Cottonwood Pond, I heard about it.
Did you hear, too, that I'm back on the wrong side?
Here, pull a stool up to the bar. Harry, a drink for Mr. Dillon.
No, thanks. I can't stay, Kitty. I gotta try to round up some deputies, and try is probably about as far as I'm gonna get. Old Ton will be siding with the Texas boys against Howard. And against me.
Maybe you ought to switch sides, Matt.
Oh, sure, I oughta. I know, but I can't. If I started making my own rules, it'd mean the end of law and order in Dodge City. Yeah, I just can't do it, Kitty. Much as I'd like to.
Well, not for me to say. You're the one who has to decide.
Yeah, Chester. What'd you find out?
Mr. Hightower down at the railroad depot checked clear through to Topeka. They can't get enough cattle cars here to load that herd out before day after tomorrow.
Well, that's that. It's an outside chance anyway. I thought we might load them up fast, Kitty, and run them up to Walnut Creek. It's still got a little water in it. But
Matt, there's something wrong with a law that upholds a low-down scheme like this.
Well, what Howard's doing is wrong morally, but it's right legally. I gotta find a legal way to stop him.
I'll bet a lawyer could find a way of some kind. Too bad this town doesn't have one.
Heaven forbid.
Just the same, Matt,
Yeah, what is it?
My name's Fenton. I'm range boss.
Yeah, I know. You work for Dyke Howard. Well, what's on your mind?
Well, Mr. Howard figures you ought to be arranging to protect his property.
Jackson gave me his word he'd lay off until 9 tonight.
His word, sure. But Mr. Howard figures it'd be a good idea if you deputize his riders.
Fenton, get out.
Wait a second, Marshal.
Go on, get out. When I want Howard's advice, I'll ask for it. Now go tell him that.
Well, yeah, but...
Go on. Get out. Move. Deputize his riders. Sure, he'd like that.
Well, it just may come to that, Mr. Dillon. I couldn't get anybody else.
You know, I ought to throw this badge away and go out there and help Jackson cut that fence.
Matt, I still think what you ought to do...
I know. I ought to get a lawyer.
Well,
Kitty, the only lawyer Dodge City ever saw was that young fella from Boston who died here last year on his way... Hey.
What is it, Matt?
Chester, what happened to those books of his?
Well, nobody never claimed them. They're still in the back of the jail there somewhere.
It's a long shot, but... Kitty, I love you.
Matt.
Come on, Chester, let's find those books. I don't know, Chester. Take a man a year just to learn what these words mean.
Well, I sure can't help you, Mr. Dillon. Looky there. Tort. Replevin. Statutory malfeasance. Why don't they write the laws out in English?
There'd be no work for lawyers then. The only thing that might do it is this one. I'm not too sure what it means.
Evening, Matt.
Oh, Doc, come on in here, will you?
I figured I'd bring you a little courage for the battle.
What?
Might be snakes out at Cottonwood Pond.
It's very thoughtful.
Yes, sir. Calomel and Irish whiskey. No doctor west of the Mississippi ought to be without them. The calomel's for the women, you understand?
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm. Of course, a bottle of Jameson might not cure a patient, but it sure makes him enjoy his illness.
Yeah. Look, Doc, you've been to school. At least I guess you have.
Oh, well, I browsed through a couple.
Well, listen to this now, and tell me what you think about this paragraph right here.
Well, let me see. A schedule of territorial ordinances and judicial precedents. Handbook for local administrators. Well, I didn't go to law school.
No, but you've read books, and you know big words. Now listen to this. The local administrator or other duly constituted authority in a territorial division is hereby empowered to declare a state of acute emergency in case of riot, rebellion, or any natural catastrophe which threatens the general welfare. Now, Doc, would you say I'm a duly constituted authority, huh?
Well, in Dodge City, I guess you're about the only authority.
Yeah, now, would you say this drought we're having is a threat to the general welfare?
Well, I've never seen a worse one, but...
All right, now listen to this.
Yeah?
During the period of such emergency, the officer in charge is authorized to seize, confiscate, allocate, or otherwise administer critical materials and facilities in accordance with the common need and his own discretion.
All right, Matt. Water is a material.
Yeah?
And as far as keeping cattle alive is concerned, Cottonwood Pond is a facility.
That's all I wanted to know.
I don't see how it'll help you, though, Matt. Howard will never stand for it. You're still going to have a pitched battle on your hands.
Maybe so, Doc. But at least I'll be fighting in the way I want to fight. Well, come on, Chester, let's go. It's 8 o'clock.
We will return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment, but first, you personally can help to make sure America has an impregnable fence against invaders along all its borders by volunteering as a ground observer to watch the skies for unidentified planes. Men and women from teenage up, write or phone your nearest Civil Defense Center. Now, the second act of Gunsmoke.
It's dark now. Must be pushing 9 o'clock. Hope they don't jump the gun on us, Chester.
I figure Jackson will stick by his word, Mr. Dillon.
If Howard lets him.
You know, we might get a break in this drought if that storm comes this way.
No, I'd say it's only heat lightning. All thunder and no rain.
Well, if it goes on a few more weeks, this prairie will be dried right down to the nubbin.
All right, hold it. Pull up them horses.
He's right there by the fence, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, I see it.
Who's there? Well, speak up.
I usually answer bushwhackers with a 6-gun. This is your lucky night, Fenton.
Oh, the marshal. I didn't know.
Where's your boss?
All right, here, Dillon. About time you got here. That mob may try to rush the fence any minute now.
Not yet, Howard. I said 9 o'clock. You got 5 minutes yet.
Come on over here, Jackson. I want you to hear this, too.
I kind of wish you'd stayed out of it, Marshal. I'd rather not have fought against you.
Never mind. Mr. Howard, by the authority vested in me as a U.S. Marshal, and under the territorial laws and ordinances of the United States, I'm hereby declaring a state of acute emergency due to the drought.
What are you talking about, Dillon?
The U.S. Territorial Ordinance Schedule of 1858, Section 721C.
What are you trying to say?
Just this. For the duration of the emergency, I am taking charge of Cottonwood Pond in the name of the United States government. And I'm allocating use of it to Mr. Jackson here to water his herd. Now, if you want to try to make a deal with him, you got 5 minutes before I cut the wire and open the fence.
I've never bought water before, but I'll give you 10 cents a head, Howard. How about it?
I'll see you dead first. And I'll be struck dead myself before I see one head of your stock onto my property. Dillon, I don't know what's behind this move. Maybe you've sold out, made a deal of your own.
Easy, Howard.
If not that, then you've lost your mind.
Your 5 minutes are running out now. What are you gonna do?
Fight! What do you think I'm gonna do?
Gonna resist the law?
You call it the law, I don't. Dillon, I'm giving my boys orders to shoot any man who lays a hand on this fence. And that goes for you.
Listen to me, Howard. You got a chance to do something that costs you nothing and means life or death to somebody else. And you're refusing to do it. Well, I'm sorry to see it that way. But in any case, this herd gets water.
Maybe they will. All right, boys, you heard it. Keep that fence covered. If they want to fight, they'll get one.
Jackson, I guess I'm going to need some deputies.
Well, I got 25 men here, Marshal. They're yours if you want them.
All right, boys. Will you all raise your right hands? Do you swear to uphold the Constitution, ordinances, and bylaws of the United States to the best of your ability, so help you?
I do.
All right, you're all temporary deputy marshals acting under my orders. Now bunch the cattle in this way and start them through the fence as soon as I open the wire.
They won't need much starting, Marshal. They've been smelling that water for hours.
Now don't shoot unless you're fired on. If you are, protect yourselves and your herd. All right, let's go.
Pickers! Keep those flankers closing them in toward the opening here. If they crowd on that fence, they'll cut themselves to rebel.
Right, boss. Over this way.
Chester, come here, man.
Yes?
You got the wire cutters?
Here you are, Mr. Dillon. You know, I think we got a fight on our hands.
Yeah, I guess. All right, keep me covered.
I'll watch the left over here.
All right, Mr. Jackson.
Well, there's one strand down.
They're cutting the fence, Mr. Howard.
All right, fire at the flash, Chester.
Yes, sir. Oh, my gracious, I wish there was a moon.
There's one more strand.
I spotted him.
And here's the last one. Now.
All right, boys, the fence is open. Bring them through.
Come on through, boys. Come on. Heads up, Chester. They won't give in this easy.
Yeah, you can hear them out there, but you can't see for the dust.
Yeah. Wind's coming up off that cloud. Well, come on. Let's try to find Howard. I'm going to take him in for attempted murder.
Last time I heard him, he was down along the fence here, Summers.
All right, boys. Fire the grass.
What the?
Look at them torches, Mr. Dillon. They're setting fire in the grass.
Yeah. As dry as it is, they'll start the whole prairie blazing. Jackson! Get your herd through the fence. They're trying to stampede it.
It'll take more than fire to turn those cattle away from water.
I guess you're right. Look, send as many of your boys as you can to help me. We got to get that fire stopped and fast.
I don't know, Mr. Dillon. I don't know if we're winning or losing.
Well, if that backfire holds it, we're winning, Chester. Otherwise...
Couldn't have been a worse time. The prairie's dry as gunpowder.
Well, at least the herd's safe. They wouldn't leave that pond if the whole world caught fire.
Any orders for the boys, Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, just have them keep working along the edge of the backfire, Pecos. Beat out any sparks that get across, huh?
Right, Marshal, I got you.
Have you seen anything of the Howard gang?
Oh, not a sign. I guess they figured they'd done all they could.
Yeah, maybe.
Mr. Dillon, I'd swear a storm's gonna break. I can halfway smell the rain.
I don't know about that, Chester. But it's doing one thing it won't help us.
What do you mean?
Look, the wind's shifting. It's starting to drive those flames across the backfire.
Well, if it catches there again, it'll get clear away from
Yeah,
us.
it sure will. Now, come on. Let's grab some of the boys and start working behind it.
Yes,
Let's go, Dillon. Well, Fenton, I figured you'd be halfway to the Mexican border by now.
Well, you figured wrong. You keep your hands still, both of you. One move and it's your last move.
That's about the way you planned it anyway, isn't it?
You wiped us out, Dillon. That backfire of yours took the ranch house and the barns. There's nothing for us to do now but drift. Only first I'm gonna kill you.
Hit the dirt, Chester. Fenton, drop the gun. You're under arrest.
I'll drop it, you dirt. Dillon,
Well, you warned him, Mr. Dillon.
That doesn't matter much now. Look, Chester.
Yes, sir. It's jumped the backfire. With that wind driving it, it'll burn the whole prairie from here clear to the river.
And Dodge City along with it. Not a way in the world of stopping it either.
I heard the shot, Marshal. You all right?
I'm sick at my stomach, that's all. Dodge City's gonna burn, Jackson, and there's nothing we can do.
I sure didn't figure on this. I let him have the herd, gladly.
No, it's my fault. I should have jumped him first.
A man does what he has to, Marshal. I don't think that's your way.
Well, maybe my way's the wrong way. When it leads to burning 10,000 acres of prairie in a whole town, there must be something wrong.
Wait, Mr. Dillon.
What is it, Chester?
I told you I could smell it.
Smell what? What the devil? Rain!
Yes, sir.
By heavens, it's starting to rain!
By heaven may be the right expression.
Well, I don't know about that, but I know it's the only thing that can save Dodge. Well, come on, rain! Faster! Cut loose and rain, will you?
It's a-doing it, Mr. Dillon. Look at it. Beating down on that fire.
Rain. Chester, you know, out here on the frontier sometimes, when a thing like this happens, it makes you wonder if maybe... Well, I don't know. Come on, Chester, let's find our horses.
It's sure not letting up any, Mr. Dillon.
No, we're still quite a ways from town. Let's swing over along the bluff, Chester, and find a place to wait it out for a while, huh?
That's what I was hoping you'd say.
Come on.
Well, it took a long time to break loose, but it's sure making up for luck. Wow! I never saw lightning this before.
Usually lets up once the rain starts. I guess it's just a freak storm anyway. What? Off your horse, Chester. Flat on the ground. Now.
I saw it flash, Mr. Dillon. It come from that lone cottonwood tree.
Yeah. It's a bad spot. He's got cover and we haven't. Well, I guess we found out what happened to Mr. Howard. All right, Howard. Come out with your hands up. You're under arrest.
Why don't you come and get me, Dillon?
I'm gonna flip a shot at the tree, Chester. Roll away as soon as I fire.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Smart, Dillon. You're not smart enough.
That was close.
There's enough light for him to see. He's got all the odds. If he keeps it up, he'll get us sure.
Maybe we might just well rush him, Mr. Dillon. We haven't got much to lose.
It's an outside chance, Chester. And he's bound to get one of us.
Yeah, but this way it's both.
Yeah, I know. All right. We'll go in on the count of 3. Fan out and move fast.
Yes, sir.
And, good luck, Chester.
Same to you, Mr. Dillon.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Dillon, what happened?
It was lightning. It struck the tree. I think Howard's lying over there on the ground. Come on. Yeah. He's down, all right.
He said he'd be struck dead before he'd ever give in. Well, he was.
By heaven, I don't know. It was the second time tonight. You know, Chester, I think I'm going to change my ways.
Gunsmoke, transcribed under the direction of Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by Les Crutchfield, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were Harry Bartell and Lou Krugman, with Joe Duvall, Barney Phillips, and Georgia Ellis. Parley Bear is Chester, and Howard McNear is Doc. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke. Eve Arden plays the wisecracking English teacher Connie Brooks of Madison High Sunday nights on CBS Radio. And when our Miss Brooks calls the roll on comedy, there's laughter enough for all takers. Sunday nights on most of these same stations, join Eve Arden as our Miss Brooks for high-class classroom comedy. This is Roy Rowan speaking. America now listens to 105 million radio sets and listens most to the CBS Radio Network.
And there you have it. 72 years ago, September 20th, 1952, Gunsmoke here on Classic Radio Theater. Let's sit back, relax, and listen to Claudia in just a moment.
Daily, the broadcasts of Radio Free Europe and Radio Free Asia strike through the Iron Curtain, bringing the truth about the free world to the captive peoples behind it. Help send a message by giving to the 1952 Crusade for Freedom.
We close out this Friday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox with an episode of Claudia. This goes back 76 years to September 20th, 1948.
Your Coca-Cola bottler presents Claudia, based on the famous play and novels by Rose Franken. Brought to you transcribed Monday through Friday by your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. Relax, and while you're listening, refresh yourself. Have a Coke. And now, Claudia.
Oh, what's better than a good stretch?
Especially when it's a home stretch.
As I was going to say, fall is going to be beautiful here on the farm, darling.
Mm-hmm. Smells like fall tonight, doesn't it?
It's a wonderful smell. There ought to be a perfume called Burning Leaves.
Burning leaves.
Hey,
Imagine
David.
that behind your ear.
Don't settle down.
I am settled down for a nice long evening by the fire, without a fire.
The evening would be nicer if it were shorter.
It's only 9 o'clock.
Well, Mama's gone to bed. If it's good enough for her,
Well,
it's
Mama
good
had
enough.
a headache.
I could work one up if I tried.
I'll save your strength.
What are you going to do?
Well, I might do a little work on the new red schoolhouse.
Work?
Mm-hmm.
Must you?
You want to be kept in mink, don't you?
Oh, well, I prefer muskrat.
Well, even for muskrat, I have to do some homework.
Then skip the muskrat. I'll wear sable.
Young woman, if you're trying to wheedle me into spending an evening of idle chatter.
I'm not interested in idle chatter either.
Skadoodle, I'm busy.
Oh, gosh. You don't want to talk at all?
No.
You really don't want to talk? Guess you don't. I can take a hint.
Then take it.
All right, all right, all right.
Oh, Mr. Norton.
Oh, Fritz, just the man I wanted to talk to.
Fritz, what is it you have that I haven't?
What is it, Mrs. Norton?
That's what I wanted to know.
Pay no attention to her, Fritz. I was just thinking of coming out to the kitchen. There's something I want to talk to you about.
Yes?
Oh, first try some of this new tobacco. See if you like it. Now.
Well, I...
Go ahead. David has cans and cans of it. A rich client.
I smoke it later.
Now, no need to be so formal with me, Fritz. Smoke it now.
Well, yes. Dankeschön.
Smell that. How you coming on the place? You still up to your ears in work?
Oh, no. Besides working on this land, it's not work. It's a pleasure.
Eats to his own taste, as the woman said when she kissed the cow.
Oh, go kiss a cow. Don't you think we ought to hire some day labor on the place?
But what for?
Well, I was thinking of clearing out that underbrush behind the pasture.
Why spend money for lazy loafers? I soon get plenty time. I do it myself, quicker and better.
No, I dare say you would.
You mustn't kill yourself working.
Well, don't worry. I am the first to say when it is too much work.
I'll bet.
Hand me those matches. Huh?
We have still no animals on the farm, so I am practically with nothing to do. Someday I hope you...
Well, don't count your chickens before they hatch.
It's not chickens I count, but cows and pigs and...
Well, we have to take that work seriously.
Well, a farm is not a farm without animals, and I promise you would not need any more help. I am a very good hand with animals.
You don't have to tell me.
It's a fine tobacco, Mr. Norton.
Sounds fine.
Very fine.
Here, I have an extra can.
Well, I did not mean...
Of course you did, of course.
Well, I'll clear up the underbrush at the end of the week. Well, good night.
Say good night to Bertha for us.
Yes, I will tell her.
David, why should we be so blessed?
But we are.
Have a chocolate?
I'm smoking my pipe, Claudia. Don't squeeze the
wonderful.
chocolates like that.
I'm looking for one that's not figs or coffee.
Well, take pot luck. It's rude to poke.
Ooh, I got a green one. Ugh.
Here, I'll take it.
Thought you were smoking your pipe.
Green one is marzipan, simpleton.
What?
Marzipan, I mean.
Oh, I always wondered how you pronounced it. I detest marzipan.
Well, don't take my word for it.
I think I'll comb out Shakespeare's hairballs.
Now, that's one of your better ones.
Better ones what?
Non sequiturs.
Oh, them.
While you comb out Shakespeare's hairballs, maybe I'll get some peace and quiet.
I'll tell Shakespeare you're working. Here, kitty, 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 kitty.
Can't you call him quietly?
Pussycat? How would he hear?
Cats have a sixth sense.
But I haven't.
You haven't got one.
Oh, you're so sweet to me, darling. Here, kitty, 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 pussycat. Shakespeare.
Maybe he's gone upstairs.
Shakespeare. Now, what would he do that for?
I don't know. Maybe
Guess
he likes
I better
it up there.
look. Here, Shakespeare. Oh, don't you want to come and get combed? Here, kitty, 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 pussycat.
Peace and quiet. I hope that cat's hiding in the attic. Now. Bulb's dim in this lamp. Oh, well. Way down yonder in the Yankee tank, my fountain pen. Where is that blasted pen? Claudia! Claudia! Hey, Claudia! Maybe Shakespeare was in the attic. Claudia! Where are you? Hey!
I'm in the nursery, David.
Now, don't tell me Shakespeare's keeping watch over Bobby.
Come on in.
I want my fountain pen.
It's in the pantry. Come on in.
What's it doing in the pantry?
I needed it. Look, David.
At what?
Bobby. Look, he has his mouth open.
Looks as if he were smiling. But it's gas.
He smells so damp and sweet.
Baby smell.
If I were to walk blindfolded through an immense corridor of babies, I'd know which one was Bobby. You would, too.
He looks like every other baby, and he smells like every other baby.
Oh, that's what you think. Except I don't think you do either. Oh, David, he's ours.
Hey, you're only supposed to kiss babies on the cheek.
Shh, don't tell anybody on me.
But it's different with wives. So come here.
I'm glad I'm not a baby. Let's go down before we're waking.
Claudia, what about his belly?
What about it?
He has one.
He's supposed to.
Will he outgrow it?
Of course he'll outgrow it. I hope not too soon, though. I love it.
Well, don't make a sissy out of him.
Well, he's only 2.5 months. A little while longer won't hurt him. You don't think it's, sort of silly to go downstairs again? When our bedroom is right here down the hall.
Did you say my fountain pen was in the pantry?
All right, I'll bring it to you. Oh, what a bore.
Well, don't loiter.
I never loiter. Shakespeare, here you are. Now, come on, Shakespeare, you just sit on my lap. Be still or I'll wring your neck. I'm not hurting you, you dope. I haven't even touched you. So you don't have to cry in case. Now, be quiet.
Hey, darling, did you receive a notice of a life insurance premium?
No. If anybody had sent a check, I'd remember.
This isn't a check, it's a bill.
You said it was a premium.
Well, a premium is a bill for an insurance premium.
You're getting repetitions.
Now, all I want to know is, did you receive it?
If it's a bill, it's in the top drawer. If it's a premium, I don't know where I put it. Maybe I filed it under P.
P?
Only I haven't got a file. What do you want with it, anyway?
I want to pay it.
I thought life insurance was money you received, not gave out.
Oh, heaven grant me patience.
I thought it was all velvet.
You know better than that. Now, stop trying to act dumb.
All right, if you won't tell me. David, the moon.
Never mind the moon.
But you've got to look. Look right there through the window. Quick, put out the light.
I will not put out the light.
It's a harvest moon. Great, big, orange, and round. Make a wish.
You only make wishes on new moons.
I make wishes on harvest moons, too.
I wish you weren't so dumb.
And I wish life would never be any less wonderful than it is right now.
You happy?
Terribly. The light out the moon's twice as bright.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful.
Apple tree. Will be fall soon. Then winter. David, don't work on the schoolhouse plans tonight.
Well,
And don't do that life insurance thing either, please.
How I get pushed around. Don't do this, don't do that.
Oh, the world is so full of a number of things.
The world is full of two kinds of people. Those who quote Alice in Wonderland and those who don't.
It isn't Alice in Wonderland, it's Tennyson. Anyway, we should be.
What?
Happy as kings.
I'm as happy as kings.
Are you?
Oh, well,
really,
I'm happier.
David?
Mm-hmm. But before we go up to bed, I'm going to fill out this insurance premium thing. Where's the checkbook?
Right there in the second drawer. Why do you always have to do something first before you do something else?
Because that is life. Besides, you wouldn't want me to let my insurance lapse.
Why not?
Because then if I die, it wouldn't be worth anything to you.
David, stop it.
And I'm going to have to call all my insurance. I'm going to call them up and have it all arranged so that it's paid to you in a small amount regularly rather than in a lump sum.
David, don't talk like that.
Then I know you won't go out and lose it all at once. Then I won't have to worry.
You wouldn't have to worry if you were dead. Oh, David, I hate talking about insurance and wills.
Silly. How can you be so silly?
I'm not silly. You don't understand. I couldn't live if anything ever happened to you.
You'd live. You darn well would have to live.
I wouldn't. I'd kill myself.
What about Bobby?
Bobby wouldn't matter.
Oh, yes, he would. He'd matter more than anything else.
David, please.
Claudia, you're crying.
Darling, hold me tight.
You little fool. You little fool. Darling, what's the matter?
I don't
Come
know.
on,
It's
tell me.
just talking all that silly nonsense.
You're trembling.
The spirit must have just walked over my grave.
A minute ago, you were so happy as king.
I still am, I guess.
What's the matter now? Come on, tell me.
I don't know. I just can't explain. Maybe everything's too perfect, as if it just couldn't keep on that way.
Oh, nonsense.
Fritz and the farm and Bobby.
Now, nothing's going to change.
The harvest moon. Everything's so quiet. David lets go up.
I should have known I wouldn't get any work done.
Don't joke.
Darling, can't you tell me?
It's just as if I'd said goodbye.
To what? To who?
I don't know, to this whole evening that was mine and yours. Now it's gone by.
There will be others.
Of course there will, if you say so. Tomorrow night, the moon won't be so full, and tomorrow is never the same.
Tomorrow might be better. Come on, let's go up.
Remember the old Cracker Barrel around which folks used to cluster in general stores? Sometimes nowadays it seems the Coke cooler has taken its place. You'll find a Coca-Cola cooler in shops and stores of all kinds today. But it serves as more than a pleasant meeting place. It also helps you shop refreshed.
Oh, Mr. King.
Yes, Fritz.
You smoke a pipe?
Yes, occasionally.
Would you care to taste some of this excellent tobacco Mr. Norton gave me?
Why, I wouldn't mind if I did.
Good, I bring you some. I smell rain for tomorrow.
Oh, no, the moon's out.
After the moonshine, rain. After the light, dark. After the pleasure, sadness.
Just a saying, Fritz.
I wonder. But anyway, tomorrow it rains, and that is all, I hope.
Now you speak as if something terrible were about to... Look, I'm not superstitious, and I refuse to be upset by a few cliches, Fritz.
Yes, we wait for time. I bring you the tobacco.
Do that, and thank you. Every day, Monday through Friday, Claudia comes to you transcribed with the best wishes of your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. So listen again tomorrow at the same time. And now this is Joe King saying au revoir. And remember, whoever you are, whatever you do, wherever you may be, when you think of refreshment, think of Coca-Cola. For Coca-Cola makes any pause the pause that refreshes. And ice-cold Coca-Cola is everywhere. These broadcasts are adapted for radio by Manya Starr, and the entire production is supervised and directed by William Brown Maloney.
76 years ago, September 20th, 1948, Claudia, here on Classic Radio Theater. Hey, thanks for making us a part of your day. We do these each and every day, a variety of things. I add my commentary as to what these shows did, and the times, and we will have, not in tomorrow's show. We won't have a news segment. It will be, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I'm trying to look here. I have one scheduled. It will be on Sunday show, because we'll have shows from 1949, so we'll deal with those then. And we do those to let you know what was going on in the news of the day. Thank you for being with us, and tell your friends we're here. And thank you for buying me a copy, those of you who have. Appreciate it much. Classic Radio Theater, back tomorrow. I'm Wyatt Cox.